Hey everybody, Jeff aka GCurse here. How are you all doing this afternoon? It is currently 4:30 on the 15th of October 2025, and I am very sorry about the lateness of this video. I'll be honest, I totally forgot to even do this video. This is actually the third and final part of a series of react videos, which was the top 30 unsolved mystery episodes that will keep you up at night. It's just with work and everything, it slipped my mind. I meant to do it earlier, and I was actually looking for ways to clear out my hard drive because I make a lot of videos, so I gotta free up space. And then I saw I did not finish this series, and people were probably wondering what probably happened. But anyway, this react is from WatchMojo. Basically, they compile the list of unsolved mysteries that kept you up at night. Some of them have and some of them haven't. I can't wait to go from 10 to 1, and then we will be done with this series. Oh my god, I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I just, like I said, with work and everything, you end up forgetting stuff and whatnot. We've all been there. But let's get started, shall we? I cannot wait. This is actually something like I said, I should have done for a while, but I cannot wait to see what number one is. Let's see what number one is. Let's start with number 10, though.
Number 10.
Oh, well, let me actually turn on the audio for my headphones, Jeff. My bad. That is my bad. Okay, there you go.
Resurrection Mary.
Oh my god. Resurrection Mary. Resurrection Mary, or as I like to call her, the rudest ghost in Chicago, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, Resurrection Mary. Basically, she has to be, like I said, the rudest ghost I've ever seen, and I've seen enough ghost cases, to last to like 10 lifetimes from Unsolved Mysteries. Basically, what we have here is a ghost who basically will convince people to stop. She'll get in their vehicle. She'll tell them to take her to Resurrection Cemetery. By the time they get to Resurrection Cemetery, the car stops. The driver turns around to look at the back seat, and she's gone. No, thank you. No, have a nice day. No, here's some change for the ride. No, nothing. They take her to Resurrection Cemetery, and she's gone. She has to be up there with the rudest ghost or poltergeist. She's like right up there with the Tatum ghost, the poltergeist, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah.
Quitting cab driver had just met Chicago's most famous ghost, Resurrection Mary.
There's a tinge of sadness to the next entry on our list, The Tale of Resurrection Mary. It's a ghost story about a young life taken too soon, and the people who swear they've seen her spirit prowling the streets near Resurrection Cemetery in Illinois.
Richard Crowe learned the ghost was believed to be the restless spirit of a young woman named Mary Bregovi.
And before anybody asks, I will be covering this case in the future. It's not set up yet that I'm going to cover it, but you can definitely tell I'm going to cover it because I try to cover every Unsolved Mysteries case possible for my commentary series.
Mary had been killed in a traffic accident one Saturday night in 1934.
Mary Bregovi was her name, and she was a girl who's said to have died in a car accident during the mid-1930s. Multiple folks claim to have encountered her over the years, some of whom have even attempted to give her rides, only for her to disappear. The episode.
That scene right there, out of everything I've seen from this one case itself, this scene right here where you can barely see her fucking face, or you can't even see her face. It's like a black void, ladies and gentlemen. I remember watching this case when I was younger. I think this came out like in '97, possibly. So I was a teenager at that time. I remember seeing that where her face was blacked out, and that freaked the shit out of me. Not much of the rest of this case really scared me, but that scene right there, what you see right there, that scared the shit out of me.
The episode itself possesses a dreamlike allure and captures well the tragedy of Mary's story. This is perhaps in part why the story of Resurrection Mary has survived to this day.
In any case, should you find yourself driving in the city late one night and you spot a wistful young woman in a
Don't pick her up, especially if she's wanting to go to a fucking cemetery. unless she's goth.
Flowing gown, you might think twice about offering her a ride.
Number 9. Ray Rivera and the Mystery on the Rooftop.
Oh, is this the one? I think this is like the only case I saw from the Netflix the Netflix broadcast of Unsolved Mysteries. Isn't this the one where the guy he goes through a roof of a building nearby and they find like a hole in the roof and everything? They don't know why he jumped. Isn't this that case?
The case of Ray Rivera is the very first to be covered on Netflix's Unsolved Mysteries reboot. Rivera's death seems to be self-inflicted on the surface, but forensic evidence and medical examiner data led many to believe that this finance writer was the victim of foul play.
I kept saying there is something bigger, there's something more going on. I think he turned over some rock, and he shouldn't have turned it over.
Now, could this be like another whistleblower issue? You know, something along the lines of like the Dave Box case. You know, that case really just, you know, haunts me to this day. Or is this possibly like something like kind of like on the scale with the octopus? Do you remember? You know what the octopus is, right? Could this be something like that? Who knows?
But I know that he didn't kill himself.
A letter found near Rivera's computer complicated matters further with its talk of secret societies and Hollywood bigwigs, while Ray's employer placed a gag order that forbade anyone to speak of the case to police.
Why? Why? That ultimately makes me ask the question, why? Number one, who are you to control what people say if they're on their off time? This guy, you know, possibly, you know, something happened to this guy. You know, he could have been killed. He could have been murdered. And you're telling your workers not to say anything? That sounds suspicious as hell.
Every possible person that knew Ray, worked with Ray, or had any answers for me weren't allowed to legally talk to me according to their company lawyers.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right at all if you ask me.
That's within hours of his body being discovered.
With all of these loose ends involved, one might think that there would be a stronger push for the truth. But the unsolved nature of this crime and the police's backpedaling into once again calling it self-inflicted leaves us awake at night wanting some closure.
I can't help but think they say it's 45 feet from the roof of that one building to the roof of that second building where the poor guy died. I can't help but think that he was thrown. And this isn't like the guy just jumped to his death. No, I think somebody kind of threw him. And it makes me wonder if, like, it could have been like somebody in the Hollywood bigwigs. If you literally have a company telling people, oh, you can't do this, you know, it makes you really start to wonder, okay, did these guys do something?
Wanting some closure. Number 8, the Circleville letters.
Ah, yes.
Where you live. I've been
The Circleville Rider. Who the hell remembers this case? This is like one of the cases I really like. Basically, what you have here is somebody who was sending letters. It was like a giant conspiracy. Who the hell was sending these letters? Because they originally arrested and tried and convicted the person they thought was writing these letters. And they even thought this guy killed somebody. But while this guy was in prison, ladies and gentlemen, while he was in prison, basically, the letters were still going on.
Assuming small town began receiving threatening letters about their personal lives, increasing exponentially to the point where the entire community was turned upside down with paranoia, fear, and anger.
His gun.
That's, you know, if I was there at that point, I would just ignore it. I would ignore it. I wouldn't let it get to me. That's because that's what this guy really wanted. Whoever wrote these letters, I like to think of it as like an old time, like, if the internet was around back and then, it'd been like a troll. It would have been like a troll. This guy was just harassing people to basically get their jollies, basically. If you ignored this person, odds are he would, you know, he wouldn't do anything to you. These type people live. They live on people just getting it, you know, getting bothered, you know. The person that ended up dying, I'll make you a bet. If he did not leave the house that night, I don't think he would have been killed. I don't think he would have been killed. This person seemed, whoever this letter writer was, yeah, they killed the guy. But it seems like the person was doing this to basically just get to get a rise out of it, ladies and gentlemen.
Whom that gun could have been fired.
The reenactments do a great job of presenting how tense and on edge the whole affair made the community, and the voiceover of the Circleville writer is delivered in an...
Now, here's the thing that fucking pissed me off. I think, it may just be me. It may just be me. I think the wife of the guy who died, that lady right there, this broad, oh, you can't really see it, that broad right there, I think she actually had something to do with it. I'm not sure exactly what level her participation was, but check this out, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. The letters were telling everybody, or well, basically it started off with telling her husband, the guy right here that you see, that basically she was having an affair. She was having an affair, I think, with the superintendent of the school district. Now, at that time, she was a bus driver. She was a bus driver. The letter writer was saying that she was having an affair with the superintendent, I think it was or the principal. It was somebody high up in the school district. She was literally saying, "Oh no, no affair, no affair. I'm happily married. I'm not having an affair at all. No affair at all." Her husband dies, and then she admits that she was having an affair. You're telling me that we can trust this lady who's saying, no, you aren't having an affair. We just started having this relationship after my husband died. Right. But yeah, I like this case because the fact is, it's like an old style whodunit.
Ultra creepy monotone.
On closer examination, Mary realized that it was a crude booby trap designed to fire the gun at her.
Finally, it's revealed that even the crew behind Unsolved Mysteries wasn't safe from being harassed, as they received a threatening postcard prior to airing the episode.
The card.
Honestly, do I think this happened? No. I think that this letter that Unsolved Mysteries received, I think it was done up by the creators of the show. I think it was done up by the creators of the show, basically, to try to get more PR, I guess you could say. Literally, who's going to come out and say, "Oh no, we didn't send that letter to them. We did not. We only been sending letters to these people. We didn't send a letter to those guys." No, there's literally no way to prove, like that these guys sent it to them. So yeah, we're going to say that these guys sent it to us.
Read. Forget Circleville, Ohio. Do nothing to hurt Sheriff Radcliffe. If you come to Ohio, you El Sickos will pay. The Circleville writer.
This letter right here. Do I think the other letters were real? Yeah, I do. But this right here, I think this was fake as fuck.
Number 7. Friends.
This case. If there is ever a case that has really just tugged at my heart, it's this case. It's this case. Basically, what we have here, two friends, they died under suspicious circumstances, and basically the family of one of the teens tries to clear their child's name. This case, oh my god. And the thing that really stuck with me is at the end of this case. I'm not sure if they're going to show it here, but where they basically shows the father constantly walking up and down the same railroad tracks every night because he's hoping to find some sort of evidence that could have been ignored or misplaced or whatever. This is a gut punch of a case.
To the end.
Suddenly, Schroyer saw something in his path. He couldn't tell what it was. As his train drew closer, he made the horrifying discovery that two boys were lying motionless across the railroad tracks.
Not every unsolved mystery can be resolved during the lifetime of a family member, friend, or in this case, a dedicated prosecutor. Richard Garrett was determined to uncover what happened to Kevin Ives and Don Henry, two popular teenagers who were tragically run over by a train under...
It wasn't tragically, these kids were fucking murdered. They were murdered. I'm not even gonna try and sugarcoat it, because that's the thing about YouTube. If you're watching this, YouTube likes certain words not to be used. I'm gonna say it. These two kids, they were killed. They were killed. There's no way to walk around it. You can't sugarcoat that.
Mysterious circumstances. It took multiple autopsies and the testimony from witnesses as bizarre as former professional wrestler Billy Jack Haynes to discover that the boys were murdered and brought to the tracks, not accidentally run over while under the influence of marijuana.
This doctor concluded that together, the boys had smoked not 20, but between 1 and 3 marijuana cigarettes. He also found evidence to indicate that one boy was already dead and one unconscious.
You know, if I was one of those kids' father, I would be so pissed off. I'd be so pissed off, like that the coroner. If when you watch the case, because I'm going to cover it one of these days. I've covered it before, but I'm going to cover it again one of these days. The original determination was that these kids smoked up to 20 marijuana cigarettes or joints, as you also know them, and that basically they were under the influence, and that they basically just lay down on the tracks. Yeah, no. I would have been so pissed off if they looked at me and goes, Jeff, your kid was hopped up on drugs. I would have been pissed. I would have been pissed.
When the train hit them,
The episode detailing their demise is a somber and sad affair, a story that haunts us almost as
See, here's the kid's father. He's just walking up and down those train tracks. I'm not sure how long he kept doing it, after the recording, but I can only imagine that he was doing this day after day after day after goddamn day.
much as it seemed to haunt Garrett, who died in 2018 without receiving an answer to his investigation.
Hundreds of times I've been out there day and night, just trying to get it in my mind of what could have happened or what did happen.
Number 6.
Oh, shit. Danny Casolaro. You may have heard me talk about the octopus. I know I talked about it a little bit in this video itself. The octopus is actually, it covers like 2 cases, 2 different cases on Unsolved Mysteries. This is one of those cases.
Danny Casolaro.
a housekeeper at the Sheraton Hotel opened room 517 for routine cleaning. Nothing could prepare her for what she found inside.
We would need a lot more time to fully detail all of the twists in the story of Danny Casolaro, because this thing reads like a paranoid thriller from the 1970s.
Casolaro's body was found in a West Virginia hotel, and his death was considered self-inflicted.
The thing is, Casolaro was a computer industry writer, hot on the heels of a story that he felt involved upper-level government officials, organized crime, and lucrative contracts for law enforcement software.
The papers.
If you think that the government has done something wrong, odds are they have. They have done something wrong. This guy was possibly, he was possibly onto something, and they silenced him for it.
Casolaro had with him in Martinsburg included hundreds of notes and documents for more than a year of investigation. Not one has ever been found.
Casolaro's family felt that his fear of blood made his method of supposed self-inflicted demise unlikely, and the local investigation into the case seemed skewed against letting anyone.
Basically, he was afraid of needles and blood and that sort of stuff. His brother said it was almost impossible for Danny to get like a blood checkup, because he was so afraid of needles and seeing his blood and whatnot. What they do not say in this video is that basically Danny Casolaro, he slit his wrist. So you have a guy who was supposed to, be, very uncomfortable at the sight of his own blood. Needles and that sort of stuff really, makes him uncomfortable. But apparently he's okay to slit his wrist? Nah. You can see the writing on the wall. You can see the writing on the wall.
Else in on any specifics.
Honestly, we suggest doing a deep dive into this case yourself. It's compelling stuff. Number 5. War of the Depews. Once a happy couple, various issues would later.
My God, they're really coming out hard with all these cases for 10-1. Every one of these cases is it's just one that I constantly really remember. This piece of shit killed his ex-wife. They were divorced. He killed his ex-wife, and then to top it off, he didn't have the balls to do what he should have, which was turn himself in. No, he went on the run like a little piece of shit coward. He ended up dying due to a shootout with the police. This guy did not face justice. He didn't face justice. And then to top it off, he destroyed his family by killing the mother of his children.
Later culminate in Dennis Depew assaulting his wife Marilyn. While he told his children that he was taking her to the hospital, a few days later, police would find Marilyn's body off a deserted road.
We had a feeling that he had really done something terrible. It was so brutal and premeditated.
Now, here comes the biggest twist of the episode. The night that it aired, a woman named Mary came to her house to find that her boyfriend Hank was in a hurry to leave the house. After he left, it wasn't long
That piece of shit looks like a killer, if you ask me.
before she discovered who her boyfriend really was.
I think that he was deliberately keeping my attention.
You think he was?
So that I wouldn't see the segment and so that he could leave.
Later that evening, police were able to track Dennis down, and after a brief standoff, he took his own life.
Like a coward. He was a coward. He had the balls to kill somebody, and then he didn't have the balls to, face justice.
Number 4, Spirits at the Comedy Store.
Yeah, this case. Oh my god! If you want a funny ghost case, this is your case, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, just so you guys know, don't go in the basement.
According to many employees, past and present, the Comedy Store's hallowed halls are haunted.
Sometimes buildings have personalities all their own. Case in point, California's classic stand-up venue, the Comedy Store, which possesses a history dating all the way back to the 1940s and 50s. The Comedy Store was known as Ciro's during these days, and was a hub for criminal activity for the local mobsters. As a result, some people claim to have witnessed paranormal activity and other mysterious occurrences.
Now, yeah, granted, this part right here, this was a reenactment. But can you imagine what that'd be like? You go into you're working by yourself. Number one, you're working by yourself. You're in this empty building. You're cleaning up. You get paid minimum wage. You get paid peanuts, basically, to make sure this place looks nice and kept. It looks very nice. And then all of a sudden, you see this stool moving across the stage. You got to think that the turnaround for this company is fucking huge.
Such as inanimate objects being moved around by an unknown force. Given the fact that so much comedy seems to come from pain, we're not entirely ruling out the possibility that the...
I love the guy's look in the background. He's like, I love that. I fucking love that.
Comedy Store walls have some sort of bad juju lurking deep inside.
Whatever was down there in that basement, just don't like.
Like I said, don't go in the basement.
Number 3, Scare.
Throughout the history of Unsolved Mysteries, there have been a few cases that have garnered me a wide variety of hate, I guess you could say. It's basically due to my opinions, which I'm pretty honest with when you watch my videos. This is one of those cases. Scared to Death, also known as the Cindy James case. Basically, she was harassed to death. The police. Okay, there's two groups. Let's say there's two groups. Group A thinks that she basically committed suicide. However, Group B thinks she was murdered. I fall in Group B just based on the fact that the evidence that there is, around her death and everything. They say that it was suicide, and it wasn't. It wasn't. I refuse to believe that somebody could pump themselves so full of drugs with a needle and then hog-tie themselves, gag themselves, and get rid of the needle and do all of this before dying. No, I believe that she was murdered, and every time I have gone to bat when it comes to this case, oh my God, you would not believe the levels of hate that I get. Oh no, you're wrong. You're wrong. How dare you even mention that this was suicide? No, she was killed. Oh really? Okay, do you have proof? And they say nothing. They say nothing. Hey, you can actually you can just be honest and say, hey, I believe she was killed. That'd be fine, because you're just telling me what you feel. Kind of like how I talk to you guys. But when you literally say, oh no, she was killed, I'm going to expect some sort of proof when I say, hey, let me see your cards. So yeah, every time I cover this case, it's never going to change for me. She committed suicide. She was murdered. I refuse to believe that somebody could do to themselves what she did. It would be one thing if they found, like, say, the needle and that was used to inject the drugs and it had her fingerprints on it. That'd be one thing. They didn't find that. They did not find that. All they found was a lady who was hog-tied and everything, who had drugs pumped into her body. This does not scream suicide. It doesn't. This screams murder.
Scared to death.
There's harassment, and then there's what reportedly happened to Cindy James. The nurse claimed to be the victim of threatening phone calls, letters, and behavior for over 7 years. So much so, she told friends that she feared.
Okay, so this was after one of the many attacks that happened to her. As you can see here, a knife was literally driven through her hand as she is unconscious. You're telling me that somehow this lady put a knife through her hand and somehow knocked herself out? Really? Really?
She was going to be, quote, scared to death.
I took a look at her and I thought she was dead. There was a note that was pinned with a paring knife through her hand.
Still, James's reluctance to reveal specific details about the case.
Now, this is kind of like, this is what kind of confuses a lot of people. It's like, why was she hiding stuff? Why did she not talk about the people who was doing this to her? Would you want to? If somebody already made it known that they could get to you at home, in your backyard, because she was also attacked in her backyard, that they could, attack her and drag her off somewhere. You're going to want to be quiet because you're afraid that they're going to kill you one of these days. I think her mentality was if I just play quiet, they will finally leave me alone. And sadly, this is not what happened. This lady was brutally murdered.
Has raised suspicion about what exactly happened leading up to her death in 1989.
When surveillance was on her house, never any event would happen. As soon as surveillance was taken off, of course, then she'd get another incident that happened.
The Unsolved Mysteries take on her tale raises more questions than answers about how she was bound, hand and foot, with a lethal dose of morphine found in her system. Yet, it's the evidence and mystery behind the death of Cindy James that continues to haunt our dreams every time we rewatch the episode.
Number 2, the Son of Sam.
Here we go, the Son of Sam. When it comes to this case, a lot of people are of the idea that there was some sort of cult. That there was some sort of cult, and that it was actually Sam. Sam didn't do it. It was just a whole bunch of other people. No. Basically, in my opinion, it was just one guy acting out for attention. As sick as it is to say that, that's basically what it was. It was one person acting out for attention, and he fucking lied about talking to a dog and shit. Let's just be fucking honest with ourselves. There was no cult. Literally, it was just one guy, one piece of shit, who did all this horrible stuff.
The name of this pick is probably a familiar one, even if you've never seen an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. David Berkowitz was known as the Son of Sam when he terrorized New York City during the late 70s, stalking and killing young couples who were parked out in cars late at night.
The city was paralyzed with fear.
The people in the local neighborhoods, particularly in the Bronx, were petrified.
Berkowitz, who also bore the moniker the 44 caliber killer, claimed satanic leanings in letters and confessed that he was driven to commit these heinous acts by a dog owned by his neighbor Sam.
Nah. I do not believe that at all. I think what we have here is just somebody who did not get his way when he was growing up, and he decided, you know what, my mommy and daddy didn't love me. I'm going to take it out on everybody, and that's what he did.
serial killer stories are always uneasy listening. So it just goes to show that this episode of Unsolved Mysteries had us reaching for the nightlight when it was bedtime. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your
Okay, I can't wait to actually see what number 1 is. What is number 1?
settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Shane Stewart, Sally Mc...
Isn't this to say, wasn't this like oh God, I think this was like related to satanic panic back in the 80s, if I remember correctly. This was like an occult killing, if I remember correctly.
Nellie, and Satan.
Satanic panic refers to a period during the 1980s where moral outrage over the occult, heavy metal, and Dungeons and Dragons spilled over into accusations of satanic ritual abuse.
It was basically like the 1980s version of the Salem witch trials, basically. Granted, nobody, they didn't drag people out and hang them or anything, but this is kind of like the same thing. It's like, ooh, you're doing bad stuff. Let's, let's try and punish you, basically.
Shane Stewart and Sally McNally were teenagers whose disappearance and violent deaths were attributed to their involvement in a local cult.
They did express fears that they might be she and her boyfriend might be in some danger because it's a very secretive type group and they knew the ends, they knew the secrets, and when they broke away, they realized that they were in some danger.
Although today satanic panic is largely seen as a reaction to Christian conservatism, misinformation, and paranoia, those involved at the time seem to be searching for something to blame for this tragic loss.
Authorities believe that Shane Stewart and Sally...
Even if you want to strip away the whole satanic panic undertones, the bottom line is 2 people were killed. 2 people were killed. I don't really look at the the undercause of satanic panic. I look at the fact that 2 people were killed, and the people who killed her should be brought to justice.
McNally were murdered by their friends as a direct result of their cult activities.
A person of interest in the murders didn't emerge until 2017, when a Texas sheriff's office named John Gilbreth as someone who possessed, quote, biological material associated with the case. Sometimes reality is much scarier than anything associated with imagination or the devil.
Which Unsolved Mysteries segment disturbed you to your core? Let us know in the comments.
Join me next.
Okay, so that was basically it for this series. I finally got it done. Oh my God. I am so sorry for the lateness of this entry. Like I said, I just totally forgot with work and everything. I'm sure you understand. Basically, you work, and then things kind of slip and you forget, But it is nice to finally get this, this little 3-parter done. What were your thoughts? I'll be honest, I thought for sure the Tallman house, I thought it was going to be in the top 5. The fact that it wasn't in the top 5, that was actually kind of shocking, But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have liked this series. WatchMojo has done several Unsolved Mysteries videos, top ranking lists, I guess you could say, throughout the years, and I'll definitely cover some more, but yeah, I'm just glad to finally get this one done. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get this ready to upload, and I will see you next time. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse, wishing you all a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.